Everyone wants to know the millionaire secret. Most people imagine it's a higher salary, a lucky break, or a flashy lifestyle. But Chapter 2 of the Millionaire Next Door gives us a far less sexy and much more powerful answer: frugality. In this video, we'll unpack what frugality actually looks like, why it's the single biggest driver of long-term wealth, and how tiny choices, like buying used cars or hunting discounts, compound into financial freedom. Welcome back. Today we're translating Chapter 2 into practical steps you can use right away. You'll see real patterns from the author's research, the behaviors, the spending decisions, and the mental models that separate the people who quietly build wealth from those who keep chasing status. By the end of this video, you'll understand how frugality translates into money to invest, why the used vehicle crowd wins more often, and how to spot if you're living like a PAW, a prodigious accumulator of wealth, or a UAW, an under-accumulator of wealth. Here's the central thesis. Being frugal doesn't mean being miserable. It means redirecting money that would have bought status goods into investments that build wealth. The millionaires in the study aren't penny-pinching monks, they're strategic. They deliberately spend less on consumer goods, so they can invest more of their income. That extra investable dollar, multiplied year after year, is the engine of wealth. Think of frugality as defense. The authors call it playing great defense. Generating a high income is offense. Protecting what you earn by spending smart is defense. Combine both, and you win. Now let's make this concrete. The researchers categorize behaviors around everyday purchases. One surprising pattern: millionaires are significantly more likely to buy used vehicles. Why? Because buying used reduces consumption, but doesn't necessarily reduce quality of life. The Frugal group invested a larger share of their income into pension plans and other long-term assets than any other group. In short, buying used often equals investing more. They also spend much less on status items. For example, on average, the used vehicle group spent only 59% as much as other millionaires on wristwatches, 83% as much on suits, and 88% as much on shoes. These are real payoffs. Another concrete habit: tight budgeting and record keeping. Many millionaires keep detailed records of household disbursements and operate on a fairly well thought out annual budget. That's how you spot and stop leakages. Frugality is easier when it's tied to identity and goals. The study found that the spouses of millionaires are often the most frugal person in the household. They plan, budget, and enforce the rules. That family-level discipline makes frugality a default, not a daily battle. When both partners believe financial independence beats social status, saving becomes a shared lifestyle rather than a sacrifice. And this mindset compounds. Frugality breeds confidence, which breeds better investment choices, which then reinforces frugality. It's a positive loop. The authors introduce a useful framework: PAWs, prodigious accumulators of wealth, and UAWs, under-accumulators of wealth. The main behavioral difference: PAWs practice frugality and channel funds to investments. UAWs prioritize consumption and status. Even among people with similar incomes, PAWs can have several times the net worth of UAWs simply because they live below their means. Case study time: Mr. Miller Bubba Richards, a mobile home dealer, earned about the same as an attorney in one cohort. Yet Bubba's net worth was nearly 5 times greater because he lived a more modest lifestyle and invested more aggressively. The lawyer, by contrast, lived an upper-middle-class lifestyle with higher recurring expenses that ate into savings. Numbers from the research are illuminating. Typical millionaire households in the survey invested nearly 20% of household realized income each year, and most of them invested at least 15%. They live on less than 7% of their wealth annually, meaning their wealth base dwarfs their spending needs. That kind of investing discipline explains why they can be cash poor but asset rich. The book also notes that most millionaires are homeowners who often have occupied the same home for decades, benefiting from appreciation while avoiding status-driven upgrades that eat returns. Status purchases are seductive because they give immediate signals to others: big houses, fancy cars, expensive watches. But those signals are a cost, and not a small one. People who prioritize status often pay far more in consumption and therefore invest far less. The authors put it bluntly. It's much easier in America to earn a lot than it is to accumulate wealth. Earning without frugality is like running with a hole in your bucket. Here's the paradox. Many people assume high income guarantees wealth. The research shows the opposite is common. Many high earners have modest net worth because they spend as they earn. Let's play out a few everyday choices and see the math of frugality. Choice A, buy a new luxury car every 3 years. Choice B, drive a reliable used car for 7-10 years and invest the difference. Over decades, choice B can free up tens of thousands of dollars to invest. Those dollars, compounded at market rates, create wealth that outlasts the short-lived thrill of a new badge on the grill. Another common example, paying full price versus waiting for a sale or shopping outlet stores. The used vehicle-prone millionaires scored highest on bargain orientation across clothing and household purchases. This consistent price sensitivity freed money for investments. One of the saddest patterns is social misunderstanding. The wealthy who live frugally, like Johnny Lucas, are often undervalued in their communities because their outward display is modest. Neighbors may assume they're less successful, but that invisibility is also a benefit. It reduces demands, envy, and pressure to keep up. The authors point out that media narratives favor the flashy wealthy because that's what sells. The quiet, frugal millionaire is boring TV, but far more common in reality. Frugality is the bedrock of wealth. Small savings redirected consistently into investments compound dramatically. PAWs win by habit, not luck. Living below your means, budgeting, and investing a high share of income are the repeatable behaviors that create PAWs. Status is expensive. A high income doesn't guarantee wealth if you spend it on status goods. Everyday choices matter. Buying used, hunting bargains, and automating investments are simple habits that accumulate over decades. Run a 1-week spending audit, track every purchase for 7 days, identify one non-essential expense to cut and reallocate that monthly amount to an investment account, reassess your vehicle plan. If you plan to replace a car in the next 1 to 3 years, model the cost of a reliable used car versus buying new, and invest the difference for 10 years to see the compound effect. Automate 10-15% of your income into investments. Make saving automatic so it becomes invisible spending you never miss. If you can't start at 15%, start at 5% and increase with pay raises. What small expense will you cut this month and invest instead? Tell me in the comments, and if you want, post the monthly amount. Round it. I'll feature a few reader stories in the next video. If Chapter 2 teaches us anything, it's that the millionaire lifestyle is less about glamour and more about choices. Live below your means, budget, and invest the rest. Next time we'll move to the habits that let millionaires multiply their investments. Think asset allocation and business. Focus. If you found this useful, like, subscribe, and share with someone who believes saving is boring. You might change their life. Frugality is the bedrock of wealth. Small savings redirected consistently into investments compound dramatically. Pause win by habit, not luck.